Hello and welcome to a 1v1 cast. Starting off on the bottom side of the map we have a wise Windu playing as the warp spider Exarch, and at the top side of the map we have kryptoleo playing as the Techmarine. The map is going to be Pale Tooth Gorge, a reskin of Green Tooth Gorge, where I'm sure most of you already know that anyway.
Adding support structure.
But starting off, kryptoleo going in very aggressively in mid here with his Techmarine going in for a cap. Normally you see the warp spider actually going for a cap on mid, but the warp spider for Windu is on the right hand side is actually going to be denying the VP away from kryptoleo. And also something to note is that kryptoleo hasn't actually placed down a power node yet. It doesn't actually have the resources to do that, and wise Windu has actually spotted this 15 requisition away from actually putting down a power node. Warp spider is actually going to go in for a decap, extremely annoying to actually deal with, because it does put you behind in terms of your power, because you have to recap it and then node it at a later time. At the warp spider, they're probably going to be teleporting away after this cap, and could always fall back to the building or fall back to a different building instead. But with the Techmarine coming in and tactical marines coming in from the other side, wise Windu is going to put that warp spider inside this building here, and he should have a significant, or should have a power advantage, given at the same time that he has put down 2 power nodes and should also be placing down a generator as natural. Or should place, I don't know. Doesn't look like he's going to be placing down a generator as natural just yet. Normally do see them. Wow, that's special from the warp spider allowing the banshees to actually tie up against that Techmarine. Techmarine will be forced off instantly there because of that special. Very fortunate there for the warp spider. Banshees and the warp spider are going to be pushing in very aggressively. Kryptoleo placing down a generator here. Tactical marines and the Techmarine should be able to defend it. Techmarine should be able to base fairly soon. Scouts meanwhile are going to be trying to go in for a natural, in for the fully matured natural requisition, or nearly fully matured natural requisition here of Windu. Actually seems to be unable to actually do so and decides to fall back inside a building. Banshees running away here. Shotgun upgrade on the initial scouts here for kryptoleo, or the secondary scouts here for kryptoleo. Will be preventing the banshees from actually being able to do too much with the warp spider support against kryptoleo's generator farm, and Windu, having put down 2 generators himself, should actually have the power advantage, especially with this extra node over here as well. Scouts actually exiting the building here, going to be meleeing down the Guardian Weapons team. The Guardian Weapons team actually wins in melee against scouts, which is just a really random fact, but you can see the scouts are losing this engagement against the Guardian Weapons team and not inflicting as much damage as they have taken themselves, and they will be forced off with the banshees, unable to actually take a model down in retreats there. Dire Avenger is going to be falling back as well from Techmarine. Techmarine with his default bolter extremely effective at picking off models with his 33 DPS. So Dire Avenger's not wanting any parts of that, decides back away in a second. Guardian Weapons team is getting built here for Windu. Shotgun Scouts going to go in for a shotgun blast here for the Banshees. Banshees taking a little bit of damage here. Tactical Marines also in the area. Guardian Weapons team forced to reset up since it didn't have a decent position, and the aspect of strength is getting purchased right now, allowing the Banshees to fleet in and use their scream as well to suppress nearby units. Scouts going to be entering the structure here. Tactical Marines still in the area, and the Banshees are going to be exiting the area completely. The Guardian Weapons team though is still set up, but the problem is Tactical Marines are actually coming in for a flank here, and will be able to do some damage to the retinue of the Shuriken catapult. Trying to set up in the face of these Tactical Marines, but with Scouts and a grenade, or Scouts with a Sergeant coming over, it's not worth staying. Decides to just leave the area. This Guardian Weapons team will also need to be a bit careful. The Scouts with the Sergeant are in the vicinity, could get a retreat grenade here, but Scouts are going to try and melee down the Guardian Weapons team once again, but I'm pretty sure the Guardian Weapons team should win. The grenade is going to get thrown. I don't know if Windu's paying attention here to this Guardian Weapons team, or if he just really wants to cap in mid. The models were split far enough that the grenade isn't able to actually take down the entire squad together. Banshee's also coming in on this right hand side. Tactical Marines are forced off. The warp spider is still on the field, but he is a bit low himself. The Scouts will be able to uncap and cap up mid themselves away from that Guardian Weapons team, who did lose a member to a grenade. And the other Guardian Weapons team that got forced off much earlier is now coming in. Grenade is on cooldown for about a minute, or should be about 40 seconds at this point. And kryptoleo looks like he's just going to back away completely from mid. Techmarine and Scouts both retreating away. I think Techmarine could have maybe sat behind some green cover, but the Banshee's coming in and there's no shotgun blast available for those particular Scouts. There's not much point staying and taking damage and risking model losses, but some ASM now out of base, definitely needed against double Guardian Weapons teams along with the upgraded Scouts to try and actually tie up both, or ASM's type 1 and a Scout Grenade for the other. when pushing against Eldar. But the Banshee's going to try and counter-engage these ASM, and ASM have been able to force off this one guardian weapons team, but Shotgun Blast is going to try and protect those ASM. There is no grenade though. The ASMs do actually have a second jump available, and Windu is going to get forced off in mid. The Dire Avengers on this left-hand side were not in engagement, so they will need to be a bit careful in case Kryptoleo groups over. Second guardian weapons team is set up, but these scouts have been detected here. They didn't actually infiltrate in time. It doesn't also help that these scouts decide to shout "see" but do not be seen out very loud for opponents to actually hit. Plasma grenade is going to get thrown. Windu retreating ever so slightly earlier. Could have got a decap on that fully matured requisition point, which would definitely hurt Kryptoleo there, especially when bleeding models. And Windu's actually placed down this secondary generator farm. Does have enough resources to tech out Kryptoleo. Only on 85 power, does need a little bit more before he can actually tech up himself. And the Warp Spider does actually have the entangling web. This is in response to the ASM on the field. Can actually lock them down now. It could be... Actually no, and I was going to say that could be a dead Warp Spider, but yeah, she had enough health there in the end, and the grenade is not available for retreat killing, especially with double guardian weapons teams in the area, and scouts not actually having enough energy for that. But the ASM is back in mid once again, have energy for only one jump though. Need to actually be on full energy really to do a double jump. And even then you can't do double jump instantly, you need to wait a few seconds. But Banshee's getting a little bit caught out here, taking a lot of damage from range, but the guardian weapons team is coming in with suppression. Banshees need to make their way to that suppression team and try and defend it. Techmarine is forcing melee on the second one, so there's no double suppression here for Windu. The Banshees are taking a lot of damage. In fact, I think this is going to be a lost fight here for Windu. Banshees are retreating. Dire Avengers, I imagine, are going to retreat as well. The guardian weapons team is trying to set up, but the ASM coming very close to having a jump available. But instead will leap into combat. Scouts could throw a grenade on retreat here. Will throw a grenade on retreat, and it's not going to get caught on any terrain whatsoever, and it's actually going to be able to take down that guardian weapons team, catching out the last model. With guardian weapons team, when it's only got one model left, you can either focus down the platform itself or focus down the last surviving member, and either hitting the grenade on either one will actually kill it. It's actually more beneficial to try and hit the platform just because it's heavy infantry, and grenades do bonus damage to heavy infantry. You got a kill on it anyway, but Windu going to be the first person now in tier 2. Falcon purchased straight away. Kryptoleo is still taking up to tier 2, and could see the ASMs upgrade to a melter bomb. Could see a dreadnought for Kryptoleo as well. They melter the multi-melter. Plenty of ways for him to try and deal with the Falcon. But a multi-melter dreadnought along with a melter bomb on the ASM seems to be a very common way for a Techmarine to actually deal with it in particular. The Tactical Marines very annoyingly going to enter this structure over here, but Dire Avengers are in the area, but they do not have enough energy. But the Tactical Marines not even going to take that chance, just decide to vacate the building a little bit early. Warp Spider going to be teleporting in and actually capping the VP back. Tactical Marines actually going to be retreating away. Banshees also going to be spotting this secondary farm here for Kryptoleo, and imagine they're going to start working on that right now. And the Falcon is now out on the field, so I imagine that a power bash is going to be imminent here. Kryptoleo with enough resources to actually get Dreadnought out straight away, so he should start building that right now and then focus on the upgrades while waiting. And Warp Spider is going to be coming out for Windu. Not enough red for the Warp Spider call-in, which does allow you to save on power, so we'll be having to build it out of the webway assembly. And Banshees and Dire Avengers look like they're positioning for the Falcon to actually arrive here, so they can actually go in for a power bash. I think they could actually bash the power themselves and let the Falcon go on the right hand side, although Windu not sure on what Kryptoleo actually has right now. Might think it's a little bit too risky. And I'm pretty sure that Kryptoleo has spent money on something else. He's actually buying a missile launcher on his Tactical Marines right now, and that does cost a lot of power, 40 power. The upgrades may have been better spent on a melter, multi-melter, and the melter bomb on the ASM. The multi-melter very effective against Eldar, doing a lot of damage per hit. Problem is Banshees with the heavy melee Exarch are actually able to do really well against the Dreadnought when it's upgraded with either an assault cannon or a multi-melter, just because of the lack of melee resistance. The Shotgun Blast going to be coming in here. ASM going to be trying to tie up the Warp Spiders. Warp Spiders have taken a lot of damage and will be teleporting away. We'll be able to get away with 3 out of 4 members, and the Barnacks from that Techmarine going to be knocking back the Banshees. Dire Avengers going to get forced off here. The Falcon has torn down the entire generator farm, but has taken a bit of damage here from the missile launcher and does start to peel away there. Warp Spider's getting quite low, and Windu using up the rest of his red actually on the crack shot. Banshee's still in the field though, going to be going in for these ASM. They do actually have enough energy to jump, will jump away, and ASM, while in the middle of jumping, do actually have damage resistance, but that model is going to go down. Emperor's Fist onto the Dreadnought is going to stun a few Banshee models, but the Banshees do actually retreat away in time so they don't get knocked over by this Dreadnought. And straight away the aspect of the Warp Spider coming in for the Warp Spider squad. Aspect of the Warp Spider does give you the Haywire Grenade ability for your Warp Spiders, and also when you have an Exarch leading your Warp Spiders, the Warp Spider Exarch for that squad does actually have a improved weapon in both melee and range. He is armed with a dual Death Spinner rather than a single Death Spinner, and also has Power Blades as well, which do power melee instead of regular melee, which can be nice for some retreat killing if you're actually going to be that aggressive with your Warp Spiders, especially against heavy infantry as well, such as Space Marines. Very nice against Devastators, although you don't really see Devastators too much against Eldar in particular. But grenade going to get thrown here. Guided Weapons team should be able to survive that. Falcon driving in very aggressively here. There's a Melter Bomb available, but the Banshees are going to be going in. The ASM also going to get caught by the suppression here. 2 Tactical Marine models have gone down. A third one is so low right now. The Banshees are going to be unable to chase down the Assault Cannon. The Dreadnought is here, so the Banshees could actually turn and focus this Dreadnought now, and the Falcon could even push in with a Haywire Grenade. In fact, this Dreadnought is in risk of going down right now. The Haywire Grenade, Banshee's coming in, the Falcon coming in as well. That Dreadnought's taking a lot of damage. Tech Marine is going to come in for a Bionics. The Banshees do actually bait it out here, and that Tech Marine's unable to actually do much to protect his own Dreadnought. Dreadnought will probably live, but it's going to be taking a lot of damage, and Dire Avenger should be capping up this area, or something should be capping up mid at the same time. Banshees trying to do what they can. Shotgun Blast, very nice here. Going to help defend that Dreadnought. Blessing the Omni's Eye has been called in. Banshees going to be falling back. Scouts taking so much damage here. Will be going down. Warp Spiders, though unable to actually teleport out of the area, are forced to retreat away. But a lot of damage has been done. Tactical Marines with the missile launcher going in a bit aggressively. They're going to be falling back almost instantly, realizing they don't actually have the health to be out in the combat zone. And ASM's now back on the field. Guided Weapons team is set up here, and ASM's do wow, the model just going down instantly there. ASM's do jump in, but are forced to retreat away once they see the Falcon and Dire Avengers sitting behind that Guided Weapons team. It's actually going to be a triple cap here for Windu if he actually gets that center VP. But the Dreadnought still in the field is getting repaired up by some scouts. Down to 700 HP. Banshees and Warp Spiders will be ready out of base fairly soon. Warp Spiders still have their Exarch, not that they need it for the Melter, well not that they need it for the Haywire Grenade, but still. The damage is really nice at picking off scout models. One scout squad did go down very quickly to a Warp Spider squad. In fact, this generator farm could be taken out by Windu. He's actually sending the Warp Spider there by himself. It should be able to take down this one generator at least with him, but the Falcon is going to be sitting very stationary towards mid. I think he actually wants going for a push against the natural power hit. But the Melter gun also purchased on Techmarine as well. Missile launcher is actually going to hit Dire Avengers instead. Everything gained inside that Falcon going to be avoiding the knockback from that jump. The Guided Weapons team is set up here. Dreadnought looks like it might be pushing in, might try and go in for an assault barrage. It looks like it's getting stuck on the scout stones, getting stuck on the Techmarine himself. Falcon is going to go in. Warp Spiders might teleport in here as well. ASM coming in, Tactical Marines coming in, ASM unable to actually jump, but the ASMs don't even have enough energy for a Melter Bomb right now. The Melter Bomb is 40 energy. Fire Dragons on the field reviewing themselves as well. Exarch is in the midst of getting purchased as well. But Windu trying to let kryptoleo come to him. It's 261 VPs to 358, so Windu behind on VPs, but at the moment definitely ahead in terms of map control, especially with this Warp Spider, able to just freely roam the map and do what he wants. Warp Spider so taking a lot of damage, forced to teleport away. But even when they teleport away, the Assault Cannon still does finish its salvo, similar to an Auto Cannon, I believe. Some Devastators going to be coming out here for kryptoleo, which is an interesting choice. Might be going for a last cannon, might be really hating this Falcon right now, but he's actually got enough AV with a Melter Bomb and a missile launcher and a Melter Gun on Techmarine that he shouldn't need these Devastators unless he's actually buying it for the suppression instead. But we will see. Could even be the advanced targeters, or we might just leave it standard for now. Maybe he's anticipating a second vehicle instead, because Windu has been known to go for multiple Falcons in the game, although I don't think that he would in particular against the Techmarine in particular anyway. They're still very idle in mid, a little poking and prodding here and there. Neither player really wanting to commit, although it looks like Windu is deciding to commit right now. Banshee's going to be leading the charge. Haywire grenade onto the Dreadnought, and the Bionic's going to be knocking down those Banshees. The Falcon is doing a lot of damage to this Dreadnought. Dreadnought unable to fire with that Haywire grenade, affecting the Banshees, reinforcing from the Falcon. Exarch does go down. The Banshees are still alive, but Banshees are retreating away right now. The Warp Spiders, though, taking a lot of damage. Grenade onto the Guided Weapons team, going to be doing a lot of damage, but they should still be able to remain in the fight. Dire Avenger seeing very far forward. The Melter Gun on that Techmarine is trying to do what it can against the Falcon, but by itself unable to do too much. The Dreadnought still on the field though at 800 HP. Devastators are sitting behind that Falcon, so Fire Dragons can't really walk up to try and attack it as such. But the Falcon definitely can, since there is no last cannon, although it does need to be careful in case the last cannon is mid-building and it actually hits that Falcon, because it will get it killed. Falcon though is going to come in again. Guided Weapons team though taking a lot of damage, very low, knocks down the shield, but overall will live. Devastators here. Warp Spiders could teleport in and force melee. They will force melee, and Tactical Marines with a Sergeant. Wow, these Warp Spiders take so much damage. These Warp Spiders are actually going to go down here. They're just going to get meleeed down by Tactical Marines. I didn't realise how low those Warp Spiders were. But the crack shot onto the Fire Dragons isn't going to be enough here. Fire Dragon's going to be forced away. The Dire Avenger needs to get inside the Falcon. The Falcon does have that energy shield available, so it will be able to live even if a Melter Bomb does get thrown onto it. And you can see the energy shield is now activated. But Windu in that engagement did lose his Warp Spiders, and they were definitely needed against this Dreadnought, which has managed to stay alive for so long. Is also now at level 2 as well. In fact, this Falcon is in potentially a little bit of trouble here. Don't know if he knows where the Falcon is, but he definitely knows now. Tactical Marines, unless they have They Shall Know No Fear, they will lose in range to this Falcon, especially with repair support and with that energy shield activated. The ASM going to come in with their Melter Bomb and force the Dire Avengers inside, although the Dire Avengers might decide to just try and tank this out. Banshee's coming in, going to force away those Tactical Marines. ASM also getting forced away. No grenade available on retreat by the looks of things, or not in really a position to actually throw down that grenade. Guided Weapons team in mid should just retreat away. It's taking a lot of damage. Scout's going to be thrown in the grenade, and also taking a lot of damage from that assault cannon, and they will lose their model. The Fire Dragons and Banshees going to be coming in from the right hand side. Devastators are set up to actually protect against this side. Fire Dragons do actually have extra coverage, but even they are still getting suppressed, and that assault barrage is extremely nasty. A grenade is getting thrown. Really nice grenade will take down the Devastators here. Banshee's going to be fleeting in, but the Dreadnought is still unable to actually get killed. In fact, these Banshees don't even have an Exarch, so they aren't really going to be doing too much damage to the Dreadnought. Power melee only doing about 15% damage to vehicles compared to heavy melee, which does 50% damage. The Fire Dragons are in the vicinity though. ASM going to get forced away. Banshee's even losing a model. ASM going to be losing a model though. The ASM Sergeant is also down. Fire Dragons trying to do what they can against this Dreadnought, doing a lot of damage, but Scouts and Blessing of the Omnizai and a Techmarine repairing are going to be a little bit too much repair support for them to actually hand right now. And a second Dreadnought is getting purchased here for Kryptoleo. 255 VPs to 231. Kryptoleo still on his 2 half generator farms over here. Meanwhile, Windu still on his full generator farm, and also tier 3 as well. And starting to get quite a lot of reds together. Could even see an Eldritch at some point if he stops using Crackshot and any other global abilities on the Warp Spider. But a triple cap for him now. Kryptoleo is going to run low on VPs. He does need to make a big push, and does have that second Dreadnought as well. And it's going to get a second assault cannon. That is a lot of piercing damage, and a double assault barrage is definitely scary considering how much damage a single one does. There's definitely squad wipe potential with 2 assault barrages together chained on the same unit, and even doing enough damage maybe to the Falcon, although the Falcon with the energy shield is going to be extremely difficult to kill anyway. And Warp Spider teleports out there a little bit too late. The assault cannon barrage already started to fire, and that does actually follow the Warp Spider when he tries to teleport, and will get him killed. And I don't think it's worth getting him purchased back just yet, given that Windu is not really high on requisition, although compared to Kryptoleo's economy, Windu is definitely ahead. 287 requisition income for Windu, 175 for Kryptoleo, and that's because Kryptoleo on fewer requisition points and also having to pay a lot of upkeep with these 2 Dreadnoughts out in the field. But I think the second Assault Cannon Dreadnought must be seen by Windu by now. and he might actually get a fire prism out to try and counter the second dreadnought, or just in general tanks are extremely effective against melee walkers, especially when the two dreadnoughts are armed with anti-infantry weapons compared to AV weapons. Just need to be careful of the tactical marines and the melter bombs on the ASMs. And fire prism is starting to get built right now. But Falcon with an energy shield, definitely doing some soft AV, will be able to do quite a lot of work against these two assault cannon dreadnoughts. Fire Dragon's also coming in, this guided weapons team does need to retreat, and does retreat as well. But the Fire Dragon's coming in, but then the two assault barrages are coming in. Look how much damage these Fire Dragons, wow! The Fire Dragon's down to just 4 HP, will go down, wow! That barrage really doing a lot of work there against the Fire Dragon squad. And the Falcon is taking a lot of damage, and Melter Bomb is getting thrown. Looks like it's getting stuck or powerful blocked here. The energy shield is still activated. Tactical Marines coming in. Fire Prism is nearly out in the field. The second Fire Prism could get purchased fairly shortly after. But the Disperse Beam from that Fire Prism, yep, is going to knock over these Tactical Marines. Such range on that Fire Prism. And the missile. It looks like Tactical Marines tried to focus down the Dire Avengers there, did miss their missile, and will be forced back to base. They're on full models though, but will be in base for quite some time, unless they come out of base with lower health. Kryptoleo going to be going tier 3 as well, and also has a bit of a higher requisition income now. He's actually been very busy with his Techmarine. On this right hand side you can see these requisition points starting to mature up. This one's going to mature up a bit quicker than this one, but both on plus 25, which does make quite a big difference. And the guided weapons team from earlier has been upgraded to a Bright Lance weapons team just because of the now double dreadnought threat. And that assault cannon dreadnought will be easily able to take down this webway gate. But why is Windu having to spend a lot of requisition, having to reinforce his units now, and also buying some upgrades as well by the looks of things maybe, and also buying his Warp Spider back as well. Cost him a lot of requisition, won't be able to get out a second Fire Prism or a second tier 3 unit as of yet. And there's also the Orb the Omnissiah as well. For the Techmarine, allows him to throw a grenade which will stun the vehicle for 12 seconds, can also affect his own vehicles as well, so you do need to be careful with how you aim it. And I'm not sure about the Banshees going in here. Banshees in risk of going down to a really well placed assault barrage here. Tactical Marines, and they shall know no fear, getting used here, very effective, does a 50% chance special of knockback, and is actually a really good idea to try and force a melee onto the Banshees, try and land those specials, try and knock them away from the two dreadnoughts. Blessing of the Omnissiah was used once again, and Kryptoleo going tier 3 but then getting Devastators out as his first purchase, so a bit curious as to that. But he doesn't actually have enough red himself to actually get any Terminators or a Venerable Dreadnought. He probably, well, he nearly did have enough before he actually called in the Blessing of the Omnissiah once again to get a Venerable Dread, since he was on about 290 red, but is not going to be able to actually do that. And yeah, the double dreadnoughts pushing in here. The ASM going to be losing their sergeant and a secondary model there as well. The ASM are going to be pulling back, and the Falcon is going to be going in once again. The Fire Prism is going to be sitting from a long distance and just using the Falcon as vision for the Fire Prism, so it can actually hit enemy units. Windu on 300 requisition might try and get a second Fire Prism out. Problem is that there's only a single Dire Avenger squad to actually go and repair. Wow. That Warp Spider took a lot of damage. These two assault cannon barrage, not two assault cannon, the two assault cannon dreadnoughts, each doing 60 piercing DPS each, is just insane amount of damage. Two single target commanders. Fire Prism doing a lot of friendly fire damage. These Banshees here, Bionics is available for the Techmarine as well. Imagine these Banshees going to get knocked over, along with getting knocked over by the Fire Prism once again. That's the only problem with having a Fire Prism. Bright's weapons team is going to be pushing forward to actually get the cap onto the VP. Banshees could maybe go into the right hand side to actually get a cap on this natural VP here of Kryptoleo, while he's actually getting his own VP taken away from him. But the Bright Lance is going to set up, and Banshees are going to cap mid instead. Wants to keep that Bright Lance set up just in case the two Dreadnoughts push in, I guess. And Dire Avengers on that left hand side fleeting in here. In fact, they're moving really fast. Going to try and stop these ASMs from actually getting decap. ASMs do actually have enough energy to jump in, do have their sergeant purchase once again, and will be jumping in as well. But meanwhile in mid, Scout's going to be, wow, throwing a grenade onto these Banshees, doing a lot of damage. And last cannon is also set up, but the last cannon not going to be doing too much. Banshees are reinforcing from the Falcon. Banshees actually turn to decide to fight, and they won't be able to finish the cap because of that. Scouts coming in as well. Scouts getting very low, trying to melee down that Bright Lance weapons team, and double Dreadnoughts are now coming in. The Bright Lance really needs to retreat away, but it doesn't retreat away in time. Will be going down here. The Fire Prism and Falcon trying to do what it can, but do need to be careful because that Techmarine is coming in, and the Fire Prism will be able to knock him down onto his feet, stop him from being able to get into range to actually throw that orb, the Omnizire. 111 VPs to 120. Windu losing a couple of squads here. Kryptoleo managing to keep the bulk of his squads alive, only losing scouts so far in the game and a devastated squad from earlier. But taking down the Fire Dragons, taking down two Guardian Weapons teams now. And taking down the Warp Spiders has been quite big for him. The Assault Barrages are going to start coming in here now. One Assault Barrage has been used, the second one I'd imagine could get used here. I'll these Dire Avengers and actually wipe them if they're not careful. They're very grouped right now, but the Banshee's taking a lot of damage, trying to go in here, but they're not actually going to be able to do too much there. Exarch is currently dead. Dire Avengers trying to cap as well, but Dire Avengers taking a lot of damage from these two Assault Cannon Dreadnoughts here. Everything is pulling back, and Windu actually not having too many units. In fact, his Falcon went down somewhere, which I missed. Does have a lot of resources. Falcon is over here. It looks like he went down to the last cannon since it was inside the cone and the missile launch tactical marines. Windu is actually going to be conceding the game here. Did have enough resources for a secondary tank, but it was about to be a triple cap in his favour, and VPs were running down a bit too low for him, and Kryptoleo is going to be able to take this game. Also had some Vanguards coming in as well.